Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about getting the correct iron sights for your aftermarket Glock 43 to give you a co-witness to your Hellson 507K. Okay, now the iron sights that I'm going to be talking about is Ameriglo. Reason is because that's what I'm familiar with. Um, so if you're looking for an absolute co-witness, what you want from Ameriglo is the GL-105. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to Ameriglo's website. You're gonna go to the search bar, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna type in GL-105, no spaces or anything, and that's gonna bring these sites up. Okay, so let me show you guys what this looks like. And what I'm doing is I'm going to point the camera down towards the ground so we can try and get a focus. There we go. So when I match up my iron sights, all right, by the way, these have tritium in the front and then there's a tritium line in the back. You can see how it kind of splits the circle in half. Push it a little further out. All right, so that's an absolute co-witness. Now, personally, I don't like the absolute co-witness. I prefer my front sight a little bit lower, because what happens is when I shoot this, I basically want to see my circle in the middle of the glass. So I end up dropping the back of the gun a little bit so it looks like this. And I don't know, I think it's just developing bad form. So I prefer to drop my front sight a little bit more. But for most of you guys, most of you guys are going to want the absolute co-witness. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the Ameriglo GL-105, okay? And it's going to look like that. All right, so the height of the front sight, bring this up a little bit more. Okay, so the Ameriglo GL-105, okay, that's for an absolute co-witness. The height of the front sight is a .200. The height of the rear sight is a .295, okay? So front .200, rear .295. Now, the standard ones, right? If you get the standard plastic ones, the front is .165, the rear is a .248. If you get the night sights, okay, the standard night sights, which you can kind of get away with, but I don't like it. I'll show you what that looks like. On that one, the front is a .180, the rear is a .256. Okay, let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is with the standard height sights, and you can kind of get away with it. You can see how, like, it's almost like it's an extreme, like, I don't know, lower 1/8 or 1/10 co-witness. So generally you're going to shoot this like that. Now, realistically, like when I tried to use these iron sights as a backup, it's really hard to see them under realistic conditions. So I think this completely sucks. So you can get away with it. I mean, you can see them. They're there. They're just terrible. Now the plastic ones are going to be even lower. So I think that's way worse. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, going back to the GL-105s, which is what I have here, I was telling you guys how I don't love how it splits my circle, right? When I match up my sights, it kind of splits my circle. I end up having to mostly shoot it like that. So what I like to do is I like to get my front sight a little bit lower, all right, and then everything matches up a little bit better for me, for my preference. So that's what I have on this gun here. All right, let me show you what this looks like, and I'll tell you how I got here. Point it back down. All right, there you go. So you can see that when I match up my iron sights, you can see how my circle is well above my iron sights. So I can shoot this in a good form. Like, you know, like I don't have to drop the back a little bit so I can see the circle better. So that's how I like it. So let me tell you guys how I got here. Bring you back up. So to get to that, what I did is I did a bit of mixing and matching here. I used the rear sight from the GL-105. So the rear sight, so basically it's down here. So the rear sight from the GL, in the search bar, you would type in GL-105R for rear, okay? And basically drop that into your shopping cart. All right, so that's GL-105 for rear, okay? And then in the front, I want this one. Instead of getting this one over here that gives me the absolute co-witness, right? That's the .200. Instead of that front sight, I want this front sight. That's the .180. Okay, so to get the .180 in the front, what you're going to put in the search bar is GL-212T for tritium. Okay, so GL-212T 180. Right, so that's the height. And then if you want green, you're going to put dash GRC. If you want orange, you're going to put dash ORC. As far as what color to get, I recommend getting it the opposite of whatever your reticle is. So if you've got a red dot, then you get a green front sight, or if you have a green optic, then you get an orange front sight. Okay, so I prefer to get it the opposite. Now, as you guys saw, my optics are set up for 32 M-way circle only. Okay, I don't use the dot, and then it's pretty cool because this way, the nice thing about the 32 M-way circle is I got my dot way down in the bottom, right out of my way, and then I got a big 32 M-way circle, which is perfect. I can see it really fast, and I don't confuse the two, right? Because I don't like having two dots. I don't like having the dot of my tritium and the dot of the optic, which can get confusing. I want my reticle to be completely different. I want it to be completely different from my, from my optic. So let's go back to this one over here. Point you down. Right, so this is kind of perfect. So I got a red dot over there, right? That's red. My front sight is green or yellow. So the two are different, so there's no way I would confuse the two, right? And then when I match up my iron sights, my circle sits nicely on top. So when I shoot this, right, like if I'm shooting that target over there, my circle goes in the center of the target, and I get hits right in the center of that target over there. But if I need to go to my iron sights, I know that my iron sights need to go lower. So I would put my iron sights basically more closer to the bottom of the target. So that's something that you got to know. If you want to set your gun up the way I have it set, the way I have this one set up over here, right? You got to know that your iron sights are going to be, at whatever this is, at about 40 feet away. You're gonna be about a foot and a half low with your iron sights. Okay, but again, I use these guns with optics. The rear sight, the back, the iron sights are purely backup sights. So if you may want an absolute co-witness, in which case that's easy. You just get the GL-105. Okay, but if you want to get it so that your front sight's out of the way, then you get the front sight with the GL-212T 180 in the front, and then GRC if you want green, or ORC if you want orange. All right, that's all. By the way, if you just type in GL-212, you'll see all the options. Okay, and then in the rear, you put in the search bar GL-105R. That will bring that up. Okay, so so there you go. That's the information that you need to decide what the correct height sights are going to be. If you want it set up for absolute co-witness, like this one over here, that's this one up here. If you want it set up so front sight's a little bit more out of the way, then there's that option over there. Now, with the let me say this, with the if you're using the Howson 507Ks, the iron sights are a bit more important than on on your G17 1926, which use the Howson 507C or 507 ACSS. The reason is because those have a solar panel with a battery backup, and the battery tends to last a lot longer in those. With this one over here, I pretty much have to change the battery every 4 to 6 weeks. The reason for that, when I carry this 507K, I got the sun over there, I need to set my optic at sunny day brightness so I can point this in the direction of the sun and I can still see my reticle. Okay, now here's the thing, no solar panel. Okay, so when I put this in the holster, okay, that stays at that brightness level. Whereas the ones that have the solar panel, when you put it in the holster, it basically dims down while it's in the holster. Okay, especially if your shirt's covering up, it's going to dim down. So that's the reason why the ones with the the 507C and 507 ACSS will give you a much better, a longer battery life. It's not what they tell you. It's not going to be 5 years. I usually get about a year out of those. 8 months, okay? But with these 507Ks, when I'm carrying the gun, I'm getting 4 to 6 weeks. And in summertime, when days are longer, I'm getting closer to 4 weeks with this. And I buy the batteries in bulk, right? 1632s, I buy like 30 of them at a time in bulk. And I just, and what I do is every night when I take the holster off and I put it in the safe, I check the battery, right? So I'll take this off when I go home. The gun stays in the holster, right? Because the holster is the safety mechanism. But before I put it away, I'll look in there. I'll make sure it's not doing a blinky blinky. I'll blow it out, get all the lint out of there. Put this in the safe. Next morning, I'll go to the safe. I'll take a look at it, make sure it's not doing a blinky. It shouldn't be doing it, but because I just checked it the night before. But I just do it out of habit. Look at it, blow it out again. Get this back on my belt. Okay, and I'm ready to go. So the gun doesn't come out of the holster until I get here, and I'm, or I get to a gun range, to another gun range, and I'm ready to shoot. Okay, so that's really important. So I'm always checking my reticle at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, because I know that these 507Ks that don't dim down when they're in your holster, the battery runs out pretty quickly. Okay, but that's also the reason why the iron sights are important. Because there is a chance where, let's say you're traveling, you don't have access to batteries, whatever, the optic starts doing the blinky blinky. There is a chance, because you only get 4 to 6 weeks of battery life, that you may have to use your iron sights with this. Okay, whereas if with the G26, when I was carrying that, that had the Howson 507 ACSS solar panel battery backup. If I had it in solar mode, I did not expect that battery would run out. Whereas with this, there's a chance that it may run out within, on any day. Now, like I said, I have a whole stash of batteries and I check it all the time. But if I'm traveling or whatever, don't have access to batteries, I may have to use the iron sight. So that's why these G43s, you gotta pay a little bit more attention to your iron sights and make sure that they're usable, okay? Because this is the one gun where I've actually had to use the iron sights. Before I started checking this twice a day, right? There was one time I was at a training course, right? And basically I went to do a demonstration, went to the gun that I had been carrying, came out, basically, went on target, reticle was dead. Now I didn't skip a beat, I just went straight to my iron sights, popped off the shots, not using my iron sights, but I'm glad I had the iron sights on there, because it would have sucked, and I would have looked really stupid. I said, "Oh, sorry guys, I gotta stop the class because battery died." So I just went straight to my iron sights. It didn't mention anything to anybody until way later on when we were both BSing, and I told everybody that story and real life situation of how I actually had to go to my iron sights because the battery had died right at the moment I needed to use it. Okay, and that's only going to really happen with your 507Ks. On your rifles, it's not. First of all my other rifles are solar powered with battery backup, right? So I always got that. But also with the rifles, you don't use them as much in terms of they're not always in motion. Most of the time, your rifles are going to be sitting in your safe, right? Until you pull it out. You know, you're not carrying the rifle around every day like you carry gun. Okay. So anyway, a couple of things for you guys to think about. Drop some comments below. If you got some of your own experiences to share, please do. And make sure you follow me on Odyssey, which is an uncensored platform, right? Over there, I wouldn't have to say things like aftermarket Glock 43, right? I could call it what it actually was, but for YouTube, I have to call this an aftermarket Glock 43. So follow me on Odyssey. My channel name over there is Pocono Tactical, and Odyssey, because it's kind of weird the way it's spelled, it's ODYSEE.com. Okay, and I'm Pocono Tactical over there. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon.